As we kick off another week, it is Monday. Crude oil is trading at $105 a barrel, and yields continue to rise. Don't forget, real yields breaking out is something that could derail this monster run we're seeing in the markets. It looks like that we are moving towards melt up territory. A lot of people are absolutely warranted for being concerned about, first of all, the just straight up thrust, and then more importantly, the seasonalities during midterms. At the end of the day, you have to trade what is on the chart and stay on the right side, but you want to have that total awareness about what's happening about you. Don't ever want to get comfortable. You want to make sure that you put the work in, stay on the right side. What is the right side for Bitcoin here? Is this the bears' last stand? The opportunity of the seasonalities is definitely favoring them. The technicals here are on the verge of potentially taking a turn. We know that we have a massive downward sloping breakout, a retest, and are right now trying to resume up. You could see that prices made a higher high, so you might say, well, it's resumed up. But I would say, well, actually, structurally, and it's going to borrow this and move this up to the top. You can see structurally, we have 1, 2, and now 3 touches. So we've had the breakout of the downward sloping trend line, which is massive. Obviously, that's how bear markets end. However, we have not yet had the follow through confirmation. We're seeing Bitcoin here up 2% on the day. There is chatter that the Clarity Act might move towards passage. However, Polymarket puts it right now of passing in 2026 at about 55%. I'm not sure how much money is riding on that or so how accurate it is, but here we are, and you can see that we are on the verge of breaking out. And if we do break out, I think that remember back in 2023, late 2022, December, on the NASDAQ, when it was like sentiment was absolutely horrific and we had a trend line break. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm bearish too, but close your eyes, stay on the right side. And then we moved into March. And in March, we had the regional banking crisis. And then Michael Berry was like, sell. And we were like, listen, if we break this next trend line, and I inverted the chart, much as same thing we're doing right now. I inverted that chart on the NASDAQ, and I was like, well, if we break down here, we're gonna have a waterfall. And sure enough, we did. People saw that chart and it made complete sense to them. They didn't realize that it was in the inverted NASDAQ at the time because, again, sentiment was so bearish. Once they did realize it, it made perfect sense. And I think it's a very similar situation right now. I mean, what we've seen over the past week was obviously a breakout, a retest. I mean, hold your breath type moment. How many times have we come into this resistance over the past couple of months and been rejected? And then again, now we're resuming out of it, and we're on the verge of a very, very, very important breakout. If it were to occur, I think we get an actual waterfall down or a strong move down towards that 80. I mean, if you want to get precise, I have it somewhere around 85 to just above 87, and there's a lot of space there, and I think that there's a good chance get that carry through there very quickly. That's my expectations. If we get the close, we have obviously, we're looking at STRC coming close again to that 2-week period where it enters the accumulation zone. I understood strategy just raised 93 million and didn't buy any Bitcoin with it. That was smart. I imagine if they get a big take over the next couple of weeks, that we're going to see some, again, this new factor in Bitcoin bear markets with strategy buying billions. This is of utmost importance because we've been watching this, not now, and now a lot of people, rightfully so, are talking about it. But when we were in the pocket, when we were testing the bear market low, we said, well, this is probably the low. Obviously, I have no crystal ball. I don't know if we take it out and make another lower low, but if we did, then that's probably going to be it. And now we're coming into that first confirmation area of the low being an actual breakout. And again, yes, it's true. History shows that gold bull runs, they lead to Bitcoin bull runs. Now, I don't know whether or not and how sharp or how long it's going to take for Bitcoin. I have to come to a weekly chart over here. Again, just for those that are new here and welcome, you have and those that are not, welcome back. You have obviously in the bear market against gold, Bitcoin retesting the low and then entering the bull market. You have Bitcoin retesting the low and then entering the bull market. Now you have Bitcoin retesting the low and entering the bull market. Look, I don't know how long it takes to get back to an all-time high against gold and or break it out, and whether or not it's a quick move or it takes, I have no idea the timing. But what this suggests is that a confirmation here of this breakout is very favorable for the run up that it is once again being confirmed. Now, is that like we get a confirmation here? It's written in the stars that it's no. We have to watch for breakdowns once we get a breakout, and obviously we have something aggressive, coming back below there and back below the trend line. Yeah, that's a breakdown. We'll watch it. We'll stay ahead of it. Big shout out T3. Thanks for being here. Lots of love, everyone. And then this is also massive. This was in hindsight like awareness, watching, and not understanding the ramifications. I have to tell you. And we saw the breakdown. We had it at 88,000, right? And then the note down here said closing below 88,000, and ultimately it was below 91,000. And from the breakdown, you saw breakdown coming in, retest, boom. And there was significant follow through on that. Another 30% follow through. By the way, that this over here was put in and well ahead of time, and we wound up holding that range so far. Guys, could we get a breakout here and get some follow through and then break down? I don't know. This is a pretty meaningful breakdown. A lot of people might view this as an Eve Adam breakdown. Shout out to 2018 Bitcoiners remembering the Adam and Eve bottom that was put in over there. This looks like an Eve Adam bottom and probably has similar dynamics, I would imagine. Look, right over here, we're into resistance. I see like people out there saying, 1, 2, 3, you guys, you're out. Like, I don't know what's going to happen over here. It's looking like momentum suggests that the potential for a breakout after the retest is stars are aligned to see Bitcoin put some moves in. Now, when we talk about whether or not this is the bear's last window, I'm talking about this window over here. You could view it very, very quickly over here from the average midterm year. You have people like Tom Lee. Tom Lee is like, he's not only talking about the midterm year seasonals, he's talking about when a new Fed chair takes office and how the market usually tests him. And there's usually on average about a 10% correction. Could be bigger, could be a 15% correction. S&P obviously could be bigger on the NASDAQ then, could be even bigger across Bitcoin and crypto. But I have to wonder, or I do wonder, seasonalities, they hold a lot. They hold very often, and sometimes they don't. And then you have to wonder, or I wonder about this test, right? I mean, we are just coming off of a pretty strong correction in the markets, 12% on the NASDAQ, S&P 500. We had a correction of 10%. Was that the 10% correction? Did that have anything to do with the chairman being tested? No, it didn't have anything to do with Wash being tested. That had everything to do with, obviously, the conflict breaking out and the stoppage of oil flows, which is why we have pressure here out on the 10-year. And you could see that, liquidity grab. Then we had this nice confirmation, breakout, retest. Left a lot of room. That's not good. And now going the other way. This is something for us to watch. Another thing for us to watch was what happens if the yen appreciates this year. Doesn't look like the Bank of Japan is really going to be able to raise rates. They keep intervening here with just billions of dollars of burning, unbelievable. Imagine they just bought Bitcoin and stored up their balance sheet. instead. Anyway, story for do we still need to watch this? Yes. 2026 and forward, this is something that could have significant ramifications across the markets if we were to see yen appreciation. Is that going to happen outside of tighter financial conditions and or recession? Unlikely. Is it more likely that they're going to lose control here to the upside? Maybe slightly, but we don't know what's going to happen. We have to stay on the right side. And one thing that is happening is we're seeing here right now crude trading at 106, and that's no bueno, no bueno. And again, it wasn't as I was saying this weekend. It looks like we could have one or two outcomes, and that would be either we wake up and things went really bad, and not that they're not setting up that way. It seems to me Iran firing off a few missiles today towards the United Arab Emirates, and none of those missiles, three of them intercepted, one falling, was just like a show. Like, we're ready, and we could be fired. I think they think that they're about to get attacked, and probably tonight. And whether it's just by unilaterally from Israel, whether or not it's from the U.S. and Israel, I think that they think they're about to, and I think right now the most leverage that could be had is just standing flat, keeping the blockade. Jordan, we've seen 2 million barrels pass. What kind of guys? They are negotiating. They are literally negotiating, and like good faith during that negotiation is okay. We'll let that shit pass. That's the U.S. showing them that, listen, and that's not like the blockade is not being upheld. If this situation, if we do see an attack and we see the situation really escalate, yeah, that's something that could derail this massive move that's taking place. And guys, do not get comfortable whatsoever. So we're seeing over here just markets after this bombastic move up, figuring out what is going on with that situation. And that brings us a little bit towards let me finish this story. So are we going to see seasonalities occur of historical average midterm years? And is it lit, sell in May and go away? And then are we going to see that movement? We were looking at this chart over here, and it seems that from the beginning of October is generally, whether you're viewing this as in blue, all midterm elections, whether you're viewing this in red as the 6th year of a presidency, you have Trump's presidency years, which to me just signify seasonalities across markets of recent. And then you have where we are right now. And it does seem like as we get towards the beginning of October, that's probably the most favorable portion of this year. And there is a lot of caution right now, but you have to wonder, I wonder, are we more in the green? Are we going to be tracking just seasonalities that we've been tracking? And is it all Trump presidency years? Look, I don't have the answer to any of those questions. I think for me, it seems that a lot of people are like, where's Max Payne? Max Payne is obviously, if a melt up were to ensue. That's Max Payne. Are there charts that point to that? We'll look at them tomorrow. Undoubtedly, for sure. A lot of people are very nervous that we're about to crash. Excellent. You should be. Be prepared for it. Be ready. And I think that would be the expected outcome. I don't think that would catch a lot of people offside. Actually, I think a lot of people are very well positioned as such. So yeah, we're in a tight window over here, and a lot of people are looking at well, we're seeing new all-time highs here, but we're not seeing a lot of follow through. The breadth is really, really, really terrible, and pointing to other times that has happened. And then we have some pretty bullish. This is from Psychedelic. Great follow over here if you're not following on X. He's pointing to PMIs turning towards expansion. That elongated business cycle looks like it's getting ready to roam. Yeah, Jordan, of course. Long-term yields at elevated above 10-year getting above 5%. That's staying there. That's not sustainable. Oil is the market saying right here at 105. It's okay. Look, it gets above 120, holds. It's not going to be okay. We're looking at the copper gold ratio, looking to take a turn. If you look at every other time we've seen the alignment that we're seeing right now, what we've seen has been, and I'm going to look at Bitcoin over here, some very positive follow through. And whether or not we're there right now, that's another vantage point we need to continue to follow. And that's where we're going to leave that today. Talk a little about our positioning and TQQQ and obviously Bitcoin here now on the buy side, and a lot of people wondering, hey, what's going on with TQQQ? It's not participating in this rally. It reminds me of the last time here in October when we were seeing that upward momentum and we were seeing the same ST1 keeping us out, and that will end up being a very good play. Here it does not look as so. And look for example, this was happened to be a forward tested entry on the V4 for stocks, and you could see that on TQQQ. It I mean that could have been us on V2, a 30% gain. 30% gain. However, I'm going to point out bulls also on V4. We have that ST1 also keeping us out of the same trade. So you could see bulls over here not participating. And then you have obviously some pretty good entries. And on V2 right now, we see that strategy is holding a banger, up 28%. By the way, same exact entry on V4. And then you see obviously NVIDIA so far holding this trade over here, 8% into profit. And we just had this morning Tesla entry and spot Bitcoin ETF entry. Is the bear market. Look at that, how the technicals aligning with the systematic, And then this is V2 FNGU in comparison to our potential new FNGD signifying buy on FNGU. That's up a nice 20% over there. And then that's it. That's all of it. So look, TQQQ is not participating. And that's like, it's nothing like, you can't predict what's going to happen. Systematic trading is a lot of the same. And that's where that diversification comes in. The diversification is on multiple levels, right? It's on when it comes to Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, and stocks. Stocks, obviously, and I love what we've done over here. We have the digital assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, leverage tech, TQQQ, FNGU, Tesla, NVIDIA, high volatility, and then the Bitcoin proxies, IBIT, and MicroStrategy. And it's more about being there, diversified. It's weird. I say diversified across our templates. We've selected what we believe are assets that are outperform, and then we have our templates above them to outperform. Look, I wish we were holding a V4 up 30% on trade like that makes the whole year. Compounding just slowly off of that makes the whole year. Thankfully, strategy here holding the line with a nice banger, and we'll see where that ends up. Earnings were strong. Look, I can make the bullish case, I can make the bearish case, and we're going to find out who's right or wrong. I just want to make sure that we stay on the right side and continue to not get comfortable. We're in a very precarious situation. I don't care what anyone says. Nobody in their career has navigated anything like it. For today, everyone, short and sweet. Have a great day, everyone. God bless you. I'll see you all here tomorrow.